Today I will share with you the story of a Palestinian mother. She spent 3,000 nights in Israeli prisons without committing any crime. The movie based on her story is titled 3,000 Nights, and it has been banned in many countries because it reveals some harsh truths that may be unimaginable to you. So I have two requests for you regarding this movie. Please watch the whole story to at least feel the suffering of the Palestinians, and if you happen to find it anywhere, watch the entire film. Because many people has not been given the opportunity to see this film, which is fully based on a true incident. Let's provide an opportunity for more people to see it and become aware of the harsh truths it reveals. So let's know the heart-wrenching story of a helpless mother. At that time, there was intense rain outside. Some Palestinians were being captured by the Israeli soldiers, and they were being taken towards the prison. Among these captives was a Palestinian school teacher. Her name was Layal, and the movie is based on the true story of her life. An Israeli officer was interrogating her. Actually, Layal had given a lift to a Hamas fighter in her car, and it was this reason that led the Israeli soldiers to capture her. The officer was now seeking to learn about that Hamas soldier from Layal, but Layal did not know the Hamas soldier. The next day, several Israeli female officers searched Layal very thoroughly, and they do everything they can to abuse her. Layal was prisoner number 735 in this jail. From the prison, Layal was given a blanket. A female officer then takes Layal to her new address. As Layal walked through the corridor, cries of distress echoed from all directions. Layal came and stood in front of her cell. The inmates in this cell were not Palestinians, they were citizens of various countries. The prisoners in that cell were very aggressive, engaging in violence among themselves. The name of the plump woman is Rachel, and the petite leader-like woman is Shulamit. Shulamit approaches Layal upon seeing her and starts mistreating her. She tells Layal, "You're a Palestinian, aren't you? Something very unpleasant is waiting for you." But Layal remains completely silent, standing still without uttering a word. At that moment, Rachel tells Shulamit, "You leave from here. I see this girl." That night, the other inmates in the cell were indulging in intoxication as usual, while Layal sat silently in a corner. The next morning, all the prisoners in the cell were called outside. Layal seeks help from the police officers to inform her husband. However, the officer continues to ignore her repeatedly. One by one, everyone is taken out of the cell. On one side of the prison were male inmates, and on the other side were the female inmates. All the prisoners are brought to an open space inside the jail. Layal is still begging the officer for help. At that moment, the inmates in her cell start mocking the situation. Meanwhile, a female prisoner standing nearby tells Layal, "They won't listen to you like this, strike a deal with them." The scene changes and we see that Layal is brought to the jailer's office. Officer tells her, "If you want something from us, you'll have to help us." Then the jailers assigns Layal a task. Many female inmates inside the prison communicate with people outside, and you need to find out how they do it and let us know. In the next scene we see, Layal is given the opportunity to talk to her husband. Farid assures his wife that he will get her released from there very soon, and for that they need to prove that Layal is innocent. Farid instructed Layal to tell her that the Hamas soldier to whom Layal had given him a lift, he had threatened her. But Layal insists that the soldier did not threaten her. Farid says, "Besides that, we have no other option." Then Layal's husband bids her farewell. Layal returns to her cell. Inside the cell, a minor altercation ensues with Shulamit over a pencil. The argument escalates to violence, and at that moment, a female officer arrives and putting an end to their conflict. At that moment, Shulamit tells the female officer that this girl secretly sends messages to Palestinians. Just hearing this, the officer separates Layal and locks her in a solitary cell. In the dark cell, Layal cries out, and in the midst of her tears, she vomits. Seeing Layal in this state, the police officer takes her to the jail doctor. The doctor examines Layal carefully and asks her, "Don't you know that you're pregnant?" Layal's eyes widen, she is going to be a mother. The female officer standing nearby says, "There's no rule against giving birth in jail. Just make the child die inside your womb." The doctor informs her that it's not possible anymore. The doctor instructs the officer to place her in another cell. She needs rest now. After that, we see in the next scene that Layal has been placed in a new cell. Everyone here is Palestinian. A girl named Rihan, she comes forward to Layal. She asks Layal to give her things in her hands. Rehan introduces Layal to everyone one by one. Her name is Layal. Her 2 grandsons are also in this jail. This is Jamila, and this one is Sanaa. Sanaa is a revolutionary fighter. She is a resident of Lebanon, but she fought against Israel and has been imprisoned in this jail for the past 15 years. Sanaa, somewhat irritated, to ask Layal, "Why did you go to the officer's room? And why did you come to our cell?" Then Rehan stops Sanaa and tells Layal to sit on her bed. The inmates in this new cell were all very nice. This was the first time Layal found a bed to sleep in this jail. At night, everyone fall asleep, silence all around. The next morning arrives. The tears in Layal's eyes have almost dried up after crying for the past few days. In the jail's hall, lunch is served at noon. Layal, with a lingering fear, eats a small amount of food and returns to her cell. Late at night, everyone in the cell communicates through symbolic language, writing letters to their families. There, someone expresses love for their family. Some want warm clothes from their family. Someone wants some food. But Layal slept quietly on her bed. The scene changes and we see Layal in the jailer's office. The officer asks her, "Time is running out. What have you decided? When will you have an abortion?" Layal responds, "I cannot say anything without my husband's permission." At that moment, the officer advanced the phone towards her. Layal calls her husband, informing him that she is pregnant. However, on the other end of the phone, her husband remains silent. Layal asks him to say something, but there is no response from the other side. Then the officer takes the phone away from her. In the next scene, it is seen that the police are conducting a thorough search of Layal's cell, because, as you know, Layal had obtained permission to communicate with her husband, in exchange for providing information to the jailer. In their search, the police come across those small notes. At one point, the police call Jamila and the officer question her about the notes, asking what is written on them. However, Jamila remains silent. The police slap her, but even then the girl remains silent. They press her for information, but she doesn't say anything. At that moment, the police officer takes Jamila into custody. All the inmates in the cell try to resist and confront the officer, but they cannot detain Jamila. She is taken away from there. At that moment, Sanaa tells Layal, "You were able to talk to your husband in exchange for providing information, right?" Layal remains silent, and when Sanaa tries to hit her, others come together and stop her, and they reveal that Layal is pregnant. However, as Layal has a piece of glass in her hand gets cut during the scuffle. Layal is taken back to the prison hospital. There, a boy named Ayman was taking care of her. He tells Layal, "If you need anything, let me know." On the other hand, Jamila has been released from remand. It was evident from looking at her that she had been tortured to a significant extent. That day, during lunchtime, Rachel throws her food at Sanaa. She insults Sanaa, calling her a Palestinian dog. Sanaa reacts strongly, saying not to consider her weak just because she has only one hand. The fear of death doesn't affect her. In no time a fight started between everyone. Then guards arrive and try to control the situation, but they insult only Sanaa. The office tells Sanaa, "Rachel is right, we still keep you alive, that are your fate." The scene change, Layal is visited by her lawyer. Tomorrow she will be taken to court, so her lawyer explains everything to her, informing her about what she needs to say in court. The next day, the court proceedings begin as usual. The Palestinian freedom fighter boy is presented. This boy is the same boy whom Layal had given a lift to. Layal looks at him. The judge asks Layal, "Do you recognize the boy who scared you and took a lift in your car that day?" Layal, being a Palestinian lady, she believes that the boy's needs are more important for the country than hers. So, she sacrifices her own freedom for this boy. She says, "This boy is not the one." The boy is taken away from the court, and Layal is sentenced to 8 years in prison by the judge. Layal now considers this prison her own address. The next day is the day to meet the families of the inmates. Layal's husband has also come to see her. He informs Layal that the Israelis have destroyed their home. Therefore, he plans to move to Egypt, and he asks Layal, "Have you spoiled the child?" Layal says, "No. I will give birth to my child right here." Farid responds, "Have you gone mad? You have to stay in this prison." Layal tells him, "You don't have to think about me and my child anymore. You focus on your new life, that's my prayer to God." This is how Layal's life continues inside the prison. Many days pass. One day, Layal's lawyer comes to the officer with some books to give to Layal. The lawyer requests the officer, "Layal is pregnant, show a little humanity towards her." Upon hearing this, the jailer gets angry and says, "I have no humanity for the prisoners in this jail. If you show too much sympathy for the Palestinians, I might just put you in jail too." The female lawyer, insulted, leaves the place. Several more days pass in this manner. Sanaa had been reading a revolutionary book to everyone. Everyone was captivated by the tale of freedom. After finishing the story, the atmosphere was filled with awe. At that moment, Jamila starts singing a song, a favorite of everyone. They all join together to sing the lyrics, which go like this: "One day, this darkness will be overcome. The sun of freedom will rise in the Palestinian sky. We will get back to our motherland again." Suddenly, Layal begins to experience pain. She is rushed to the jail hospital. Her hands are bound with handcuffs, and her legs are shackled. Layal cries out in intense pain as the labor pains grip her. Eventually, amidst all the pain and agony, a baby boy is born into this world. The birth of the child happened within the dark confines of the prison, yet the mother named him Nur, which means light. She lovingly holds her newborn close to her heart. When Layal returning to her cell with Nur, some of the inmates started taunting Layal. Another terrorist has been born in this world. Layal quietly returns to her cell. Everyone in the cell is overjoyed, expressing a lot of love for Nur. He is passed from one person's arms to another's. Jamila, near the small window, exclaims, "Hey God, thank you so much. You've sent Nur into our midst." This continues for a few more days. Nur has grown a little by now and has become the center of attention for everyone in the cell. Layal spends all her time holding her son close to her chest. Furthermore, Nur is adored by everyone, and this routine continues for a few more days. Nur has now started taking small steps, and he can walk a bit with support. As Nur seems a bit unwell, he is taken to the prison hospital. There, Shulamit is also undergoing treatment. Shulamit apologizes to Layal for her past behavior. A few more days pass like this. Today marks Nur's second birthday in this prison. Everyone comes together to celebrate Nur's birthday in that dark cell. 2 candles are lit on a piece of flatbread as a birthday cake. The little boy, filled with excitement, blows out the candles. Everyone present claps and wishes Nur well. Then, the gift-giving ceremony for Nur begins. Some have crafted toys from old fabric, and an elderly woman has made something resembling a bird as a toy. All join in singing a song in the Palestinian language for Nur's birthday. Even though Shulamit doesn't understand the language of the song, she still sings along with everyone. At that moment, Rachel stops her to sing. This is how the life of the little child unfolds inside the prison. The next day, during lunchtime, Sanaa watched the news on television. Israelis are once again committing atrocities against Palestinians. Thousands of children, infants, and women have lost their lives. Sanaa's entire body was trembling at that moment. Right then the police officer turns off the television. Sanaa continues to shiver, desperate to watch the news again. At that moment, the police officer, along with some Israeli prisoners, brutally beats Sanaa. The Israeli inmates mock the deaths of Palestinians. Upon returning to the cell, Sanaa, along with everyone else, decides to protest against these atrocities with a hunger strike within the prison. They even decide not to prepare food or clothing for the Israelis anymore. The next day, when the female police officer came to summon them for work, Jamila informed her that they would not work as they were on strike. The police officer becomes quite angry and says, "Wait, a very dangerous situation is awaiting you." With these words, the police officer leaves. The little child Nur still doesn't know what it's like to see birds in the open sky. Rihan used to show him pictures of horses and birds. The little boy would laugh joyfully. Layal looked at her child with one glance and she kept thinking, her child's life could not have been like this. The next day, the jailer was watching the war news on television. Shulamit was working there at the time. She secretly steals a newspaper from there and gives it to Layal. When Sanaa reads the paper, she bursts into tears because that day the police officer had told them that some bad fate was awaiting them. In fact, after that day, the remaining members of Sanaa's family were killed by Israeli forces. Sanaa, in her grief, wants to see the dead bodies of her family members. The woman's tears have silenced everything around. At night, everyone lights torches to protest in the prison. At that moment, the prison authorities give orders to separate all Palestinians into different cells. At that moment, the police officer enters Layal's cell. Layal and her son Nur are taken out of there and placed in another cell. The little boy Noor was very scared, and Layal was trying to comfort him. However, the child's tears showed no sign of stopping. Layal played with him, taking a bird made of wood to soothe him. This wooden bird was the child's favorite toy. At one point, Noor fell asleep next to his mother, still holding on to the wooden bird. Later, we see that the wooden bird in Noor's hand has transformed into a real bird. The depth of this scene is profound. At an age when this little child should be enjoying and playing in a free world, he is growing up in the darkness of this prison. The scene changes and the jailer comes to Layal's cell. She tells Layal, "Your son is now 2 years old, and you have to follow the jail rules carefully. After 2 years you won't be able to keep your son here." Saying this, she leaves the jail. The child was clinging to his mother and crying. Layal was also on strike, so no food was provided for her child from the jail. At that moment, secretly, Shulamit gives some food to Layal for Noor. Shulamit tells her, "I've come to bid you farewell. I hope to be released from here very soon." Layal advises Shulamit to take care of herself. The next day, Rihan is also taken to Layal's cell. Rihan was crying a lot. Due to the strike, Rihan is not allowed to see her family. Her little son is very sick. Rihan tells Layal, "We are a mother, we can't continue this strike." Then Rihan and Layal end the strike and return to work. Back from work, Layal used to teach her child inside the cell. This is home. This is how it rains. In this home, the whole family lives together. They are living in joy and peace. The little boy Noor still doesn't know how a real home looks like. For him, this jail is his home. The next day, after many years, Farid comes to the jail to meet Layal. Farid sees his child for the first time. Farid brings a toy robot for Noor, and Noor is very happy to see it. Layal, overcome with emotion, she asks Farid, "Why have you come? You haven't written me a letter in the past 2 years. You haven't even come to see me once. Even after hearing that you have a child, you have no desire to see him. We don't need you." After saying these words, Layal takes Noor and leaves from there. Once again, Layal decides to go on a strike on her own terms. She conveys this message to the neighboring cell. Once again, Layal was teaching her child by drawing pictures. "This is your dad, and this is you. And the duck you can see in the distance, it is me. When it's night, when daddy tells you to sleep, you will sleep. And someday that distant duck will reach you." Actually, Layal understood that her son would be taken away from her because of her strike. So she was giving to Noor a little idea about the outside world. The following day, that sorrowful day arrives. Several police officers come to Layal's cell. They tell her, "Now you have to give us your child." Noor screams, "Mom." Layal gripped her child, holding him forcefully. She won't let her child go anywhere. But these inhumane police officers snatch her child away from Layal. Noor's cries echo in the silent surroundings. Mom Layal also cries out, and Noor keeps calling out. From a distance, Noor calls out, "Mom," one last time, and that call reverberates in the dark prison, merging with Layal's tears. Layal holds onto a piece of Noor's clothing and continues to weep. This is how life passes for Layal in that dark prison. A few days later, everyone in the prison is preparing for a major uprising. Exactly at 10 o'clock, they all join together to initiate the rebellion. The jailer is unaware of what is happening outside. Sirens blare throughout the entire prison. All the inmates are brought to an open area together. Even then, the detainees are clashing with the Israeli police. Just then, a gunshot is heard. Jamila falls to the ground. The rebellious girl with a perpetually fiery spirit has lost her life. Jamila's sister holds her tightly. Layal is completely speechless. Right then the Israeli forces come and carry Jamila's lifeless body away. The prisoners are brought back inside the jail. However, as soon as they enter, the inmates close the main door. A storm of resistance erupts on all sides. The storm of protest spread among the neighboring male prisoners as well. On the other hand, the Israeli forces are preparing to enter the jail. They have started spraying gas inside the prison. However, the prisoners continue their protest. Over time, one by one, they unknowingly succumb and fall to the ground. After a considerable amount of time, when the military finally enters the prison, almost everyone inside seems to be unconscious. Afterward, the scene changes. We find Layal at the hospital inside the jail. Ayman hands Layal a piece of paper. After recovering a bit, Layal looks at the paper, and there it was written, Hamas has captured 6 Israeli soldiers. In exchange for their release, they have demanded the freedom of several prisoners from this jail. Perhaps a good day awaits you soon. The next scene unfolds on that awaited day. Today, the names of all those to be released were being announced over the loudspeaker. Each name declared brought cheers of joy from everyone. Many names were called out, including Sanaa's. But Layal's name was not on that list. Even though many were being set free, Layal remained within the confines of the jail. Before Sanaa left, she said a tearful goodbye to Layal. Layal is living her solitary life in that prison. Like Sanaa, she now reads books to the new inmates, inspiring everyone with dreams of freedom. The pictures on the wall, painted for her child, are left untouched. Layal has added many new things in those pictures. As the wheel of time turned, the day of Layal's release was getting closer. And finally, the fateful day arrived. The 3,000th night of this dark prison ends in Layal's life. Layal was released today. She is enjoying the taste of freedom. At that moment, Noor calls Layal from afar, saying, "Mom." Layal embraces her beloved child after so many years. And thus concludes this movie with the joy of liberation for a Palestinian mother. Since 1948, until now, the Israeli forces have kept over 700,000 innocent Palestinians imprisoned. In November 1983, 4,765 innocent Palestinians prisoners were released in exchange for 6 Israeli soldiers. These are genuine footages from that time. And this story was one true story among thousands of stories. How long will we sleep? We are good with our family. But we also have to die one day. The innocent children of Palestine who are being wounded by bombs today, could we stand up in front of them in the court of heaven? I left this question for myself and for you. And I want to say a word for a few people. I see very few people supporting Israel. Maybe you do it out of anger towards Muslims. Maybe some anger. Maybe because of them you have suffered some damage. But the Palestinian-Israeli war is not a religious war. If I enter your house and drive you out of your house, how would you like that? Don't you protest, or sit quietly? The people of Palestine are only fighting for their existence. So those who support Israel should think about it as a human being, not on the basis of anger on any religion. However, if any of my words, or the video, hurt your feelings, I sincerely apologize to them. Pray more for those innocent people. So how did you feel about the movie? Please comment. And if you really like it, don't forget to give a like. I hope everyone continues to be well. Goodbye, as in today.